Hi, today what I'm sharing with you is a little bit different, and it's very rare when I share content like this, but this is something that I felt deeply called and a pull from within to put this out there and to share this with you and with the collective. So take it as you will, and why not share your insights, your thoughts on this as well. Now, we've all heard the buzz and the excitement around 3i Atlas, and as each day passes, there's new information to be released and new information to be learned. And what I find quite fascinating is that human beings, it's like, here's a bit of information, digest it, process it, and then here's a little bit more. And I find it quite interesting as well that it's coming at a time, perfectly aligned as we are going through a massive collective awakening of the self, not just of the self, but also stepping into, a new dynamics of conscious awareness, understanding of ourselves, and stepping into our power and like no other. Now, before I delve into some of the messages that came through my vessel as I tuned in and connected with the frequencies and the energies of 3i Atlas, I just wanted to give you a bit of a background information first. Because on the 3rd of September, when I tuned in and connected to higher frequencies, 2 messages came through. The first one was, there's a lot that is going to happen that is going to change the course of the universe, of human consciousness. Now, on that message alone, I created a separate video, which I recommend that you definitely check out, because it will help you understand whatever we are going through and how to navigate through these energies that we're all, transforming and integrating through. And I will also tag and put that in the description box below. But the second message that followed after that was, there's also a spaceship coming to Earth. And we are all going to learn. They are going to teach us something. Now, before we get carried away, in my understanding is that this is a galactic ship on a metaphysical, on a multidimensional level. And it is also seen as an interstellar object on a physical level, and to others as a comet. So there are 3 levels to this. And I will also be talking how this can be possible and true in this video, as well as other messages that also came through my vessel when I tuned in and connected into 3i Atlas. And so all of this that I'm sharing with you here, these intuitive channeled messages and guidance, and particularly what I'm going to share with you here today, this is what I receive and understand through my mind's eye, through my channeling abilities, in the same way when I connect with a client through higher self quantum healing, channeling the higher self through my vessel, not just for deep healing, but for guidance, clarity, answers, directions, purpose, and their dharma, whatever they need on their timeline right here, right now. And sometimes I even connect with their spiritual team or other beings, whatever they need. And part of my mission here on earth is to help the collective and to do and be part of the grid work. And now, looking back at my notes at those 2 messages that I received on the 3rd of September, I think they're not as separate as I originally first thought, that they're very much connected and talking about the same thing. And at that time, I had no clue about 3i Atlas or this interstellar object or a comet going and flying through our solar system at all. And I was very curious, and I was like, what does this message mean? What does it symbolize? What does it mean for us? I understand it, receiving and getting guidance and downloads on a spiritual level, but on a physical level, what does it mean for us? And I went on Google and I did a research, and I came across a post on Reddit, and there were these professors talking about it being an interstellar object versus a comet. And I was like, wow. And I was like, this has got to mean something. It means something for us, in terms of like, not just looking at it from different perspectives, comet versus an interstellar object, the 3i Atlas, because it's also, signaling our expansiveness in our own consciousness shift, looking at looking up there, looking over there and seeing what's there beyond this physical reality in front of us. And I know that people like Bashar and other channelers have talked about open contact, becoming more prominent in the coming years, which I just find quite fascinating. Now, the 3i Atlas is evoking awareness, not just because it's captivating or interesting, but because it's a reflection of our expansiveness in our consciousness. We're not just beginning to see, feel, connect, but we're also beginning to observe, see things, beings, and objects out there. When we are ready, when our consciousness expands sufficiently enough to incorporate everything or aspects of it anyway. And one of the messages that I got, and it was this information that was shown, was this ripple of light just coming in, permeating everything. And without a doubt, it will be activating our crystalline energy center, where we will be able to hold more light and multidimensional information. And so to better understand this on a physical level, if you imagine yourself standing at the beach and you can see the ocean out there and you can see the tides coming in, according to the cycle of the moon. And that as the ocean and the tide gets closer, those ripples and the waves are going to also get closer as well. And before you know it, the energy of the vibration of those waves are touching your feet. And that's how I was shown this imagery, as each day passes this month, and I'm not surprisingly really, because we're going to get closer to the 29th of October, but as each day passes this month, the energy and the intensity of that light that is coming in will be becoming more and more intense. Not as a way to, cause any harm or anything, but to activate certain frequencies and energies within our bodies. So what this means for us is that our chakras will be able to hold more higher frequency light and less distortion. And as we go through this upgrade, we may experience physical sensations, as we shed and let go of the old and purge the old and shift our chemistry, our biology from within. Because underneath all of this flesh and bones, we have this energetical network system of chakras inside our body. They act like guides, helping us navigate through whatever we are going through on this planet. Your chakras, they are spiritual centers or portals of consciousness. And as you move up these, it's like ascending a ladder of consciousness. And this information that is coming through 3i Atlas will not just activate, but also teach us and help us to perceive and live from higher frequencies of the self. And when I was shown this and I felt it in my body, the words, that came through to help me understand this was light body activation, crystalline DNA. It's in the waves of energy. And that is what came through. And when I was shown this and I felt it in my body, it's almost, it's very difficult to explain this, but it felt like I was having, like there was something deep rising within me. It was almost like having a floating experience. It's very hard to explain this, but that's what it was like. The 3i Atlas is carrying and delivering information, and the trajectory of it, it's just really well placed. And as it comes near us, it will not only be delivering information, but also fertilizing energies. And as it gets closer and closer, we will feel like this cascade of energy just unfolding, this cascade of information just unfolding within us. It's not only just changing us, but also the biology of the planet. And we will see this happening, playing out through seismic activity and volcanic activities as well. But, this spark of energy that is coming through us, that is unfolding through us, it's, going to change and shift the consciousness of, not just us, but also of the planet. And I feel that this spark of energy that is arriving is doing the same, if not a little bit different, to the process of seeding that took place millions of years ago. And I don't think it's going to be in the same way, but the process will be a little bit similar, because it will have a massive impact not only on us, but also the planet as a whole as well. It will create such a massive, profound shift, like a leap in our consciousness via the sun. But over the past few weeks, the more I tuned in to the energy of 3i Atlas, you feel this energy, this ripple, this surgence of energy just rip through your whole body, through your bones, through your DNA, and you feel it everywhere. And at the same time, you feel this, this love, this high frequency, powerful energy that really I just can't even express or describe what it felt like. It just feels, utterly indescribable. And it's almost like there's just no language there's no word in our language to describe what I felt, but it gave me a glimpse of what is to come. And I was shown that this is and what will ripple through us as we get closer and nearer to the 21st of October, and particularly on that day of the 29th of October and the 30th of October as well. As we get closer and nearer, and the 3i Atlas will be behind the sun. And I was shown, like this shockwave of energy just rippling through our galaxy. This energy, it isn't just going to influence our thoughts or emotions. It's permeating your whole body, your DNA, your RNA, shifting the energetic pattern stored in your body at the denser level. And all this information that is coming through these waves of light are here to heal, help, support, and to rejuvenate you, to help support our spiritual revolution. Now, I just want to add that it's not the fact that we need to wait until the 21st or the 29th of October to feel anything. There's many examples, and you yourself might have experienced something like this, where you've experienced really big leaps or jumps in your consciousness and self-awareness, where you suddenly feel something and you're like, wow, where did this come from? Or you're just doing something and this download or this information just comes through. Let me know in the comments if you felt anything like this. And this could be, for example, suddenly having the epiphany and the sense of perceiving everything as just oneness and connected. Or perhaps you're sensing a shift in your relationships. Or perhaps you suddenly started to perceive a time differently. The idea of past, present and future. You're more so in the present and not really bound by the past or worrying about the future. For myself, for example, I noticed one evening, a few weeks ago actually, I was preparing dinner and I was about to grab the bottle of sauce to pour on my burger. It was a glass bottle and I was just standing there and I went to grab it, and as soon as I went to grab it, it's almost like the glass bottle, it kind of like bent. And I just went to grab it thinking, oh my God, what's going to happen? It's all going to spill and fall out everywhere. And the next minute it was there, solid again, as if it didn't bend. And that was just showing my the expansiveness in my consciousness, kind of experiencing a glitch. So let me know in the comments if you yourself have experienced anything like this as well. And all of this, it signals your ability to perceive beyond the old matrix of programming. And as you expand in consciousness, your awareness and sensitivity to these kind of anomalies and synchronicities increase. And you may get a feeling like the sense of being awake, woken up at a deeper level. You feel like timelines are shifting, timelines are jumping, a shift in frequencies. You feel and sense, more connected and more fluid. And you feel like, you're able to see through the veil as things start to loosen its grip around you. It's almost like all of this is actually providing like a back door through our mind, hidden from those who don't want us to know it. And I feel like the 3A Atlas is provoking this kind of awareness, this heightened awareness in us. Like, look over here, look what there is, look at us. There is so much more out there than what you can see and what you've been told on your planet. And why not? If we take, for example, the astrological chart, our birth chart, and compare it against the transit chart, what's happening currently, when and if those planets can also influence us, influence our life, then why not through our Atlas, being in our solar system, being close and nearby these planets as it arrives closer to us, closer to the sun. Just like, for example, the Saturn is the greatest teacher. The North Node will tell you, where you are heading in this life, your future self, your fate, your expansiveness, and what you also need to learn. Whereas your South Node will tell you where your comfort zones are, where you have come from, your past lives, what you need to let go of. Kind of your past self, your old version of yourself, the conditioned part of you. Then why not through our Atlas? It's very interesting, really. It's something to pause and think about anyway. It's like the galaxy, it acts like a sea of information, influencing and impacting our day-to-day life, our human experiences on this planet. And we can kind of relate to those based on the planet systems, on how they reflect on where they are placed in our birth chart and what's happening transitically as well. And, the third eye Atlas is also in our solar system, passing by near these planetary bodies. And, the third eye Atlas is called third eye, which reminds me, and it signals back to the first message, activating our chakra grid, our chakra network in our bodies. The third eye, it's a doorway into insight, into spiritual vision, into, seeing beyond this physical world that we see in front of us, tapping into your intuition. Now, going back to the first message that I received just for a moment, which was, there is a spaceship coming to Earth. We are all going to learn. They are going to teach us something. Now, I'm going to split this up into two parts. First part being about the spaceship, trying to understand how is that possible with our understanding and trying to explain it on more of a physical term, on a physical understanding. And the second part being, they are going to teach us something. And I'm going to be talking about who they are and what came through the message about who they are and what they represent. Now, the first thing that, took me by surprise when I heard those words, spaceship, this clear-cut word spaceship, because it makes you think, why now? Why now is it coming through this way? And that is what's quite fascinating and interesting about this. And through everything that I've experienced in my life, and through everything that I've been through my own lens, the way I understand it on a physical level is because we're at a point in space and time where timelines are splitting, where we're now ready to receive it for what it is, and not only see it as that, but to also accept it. When we are ready, that is why we're also seeing it as an interstellar object and also as a spaceship as well. But when we are ready, and what came through was because we're at a choice point in humanity, in humanity's consciousness, where we are now ready to receive this information, because where we are right here, right now, we need it now more than ever to see this thing for what it is, and we need their help on a whole nother level. And it's not surprising really, because I've talked about this in my previous videos as well, but 2026 is going to be a massive pivotal year, but also 2027, and then the culmination of things that are going to happen and occur in 2030 as well. And all of this energy, this information that is coming through, is to prepare us for what's to come. And it's coming this way to us now because of everything that we are going through right now as human beings on this planet. And what I felt and what I sensed was that, this isn't the first time. It's happened before when civilization have got stuck. And they've come down and they've helped, human consciousness expand, learn, and to teach us skills, things that we needed to help grow and push forward this human conscious evolutionary process. And this is what we are going through right now. And this is the light code information that will come through us, come to us through these ways of information, through these ways of light that are coming to us, not only for healing, but for support, but also what we need to take that leap and that jump in consciousness. This 3-eye atlas can be seen and arriving right on time. The planets are aligned, Mars, Venus, Jupiter, as it's passing by those. And, we are also approaching winter solstice. But at the same time, whatever's happening on Earth, the unearthing of, social and political structures, systems, control, manipulation, the crumbling of all that stuff that is occurring, that is happening. But even in our own personal lives, where things are coming up to the surface to be released, to be felt, to be heard, to be seen, to be purged and cleansed through us. It just aligns, so perfectly at the same time. And more of us are being led to be awoken up, to perceive and to receive more knowledge and wisdom that is coming through. And when we go through such releases, through purges, through Kundalini moments, darken up the soul moments, it's very difficult to then go back once you have seen things for what they are. And that is how I feel about the 3-eye atlas. And during those situations and experiences, you can also experience identity crisis, which is what a lot of people are experiencing. When we see 3-eye atlas, they doubt what they see and what they sense and what they feel in their own body because of what is being projected out on the internet, that it's a comet, that it's a, interstellar object. But nobody's really saying, whether it is that or whether it is that 100%. But, in times like this, you've got to feel deep within yourself and see where it sits with you, how it resonates with you, and what it feels to you as well on an energetical level. So the 3-eye atlas, they will be bringing teachings with them. So part of the message was that they are going to teach us something, so they were bringing information, light codes, activating that deep within us. High frequencies that speak to your cells, your DNA, and your energy field, awakening remembrance of your higher self and multidimensional wisdom, an upgrade of your soul's operating system, bringing in new awareness, insight, aligning you with your highest timeline. And as a result of that, you may feel or have a sudden downloads, insights, feel emotional or sensitive, vibrations or tingling in your body, a sense that your reality is shifting or things, people look different. It's like a system upgrade, bringing with it knowledge, lost knowledge that was hidden from us, the next part of you to prepare you for what's to come, because it will be intense. And this incoming influx of light is here to clear the mind of the old. And all this that came through, it reminds me of what Bashar said, a channeler, that one day there will be time when the aliens will come and eventually, they will come and teach us our entire history, our entire human history as it was, the truth. And, linking that to, 3-eye atlas, I'm not saying this is it, But it's just, it shows a glimpse of what's to come, especially as Bashar and other channelers have said that, open contact will become more prominent, coming towards the end of this year and more so in the coming years as well. And part of the message, which was that they are going to teach us something. So when I focused on the word they and I tuned in and I connected and I felt in the energy of the three-eye atlas, I asked questions and I asked, who are they? And what came through was, we are the blue ones. We are a convoy, a fleet of people coming to the earth. Do not be alarmed. And it's really interesting because if they are the blue ones, they vibrate at a different frequency to compare to, this denser frequency that we live on this planet of Earth that we are on here right now. And it makes sense why they will then, go behind the sun, almost like cloaking themselves behind the sun, passing this information through the solar flares, through the light and the waves of the sun that are going to hit Earth. Because if they're too close to the Earth, then their frequencies are denser and they might not be able to, coexist in that same vibration, so to speak. But then what also followed it through and what was shown was this blue triangle, a prism, holding and carrying such high frequency. And I can't even begin to describe what I felt, what I saw, because again, it's just beyond my human understanding. But what I felt and what I saw, it felt almost something familiar, like I felt it before. There was this sense of familiarity with it. And after getting this message, when I looked upon a line, I came across people on my YouTube channel, on my feed, of people who I've never met before, of whose channel or videos that I don't follow. But they were describing how when they tuned in and they did remote viewing, the messages that they got through was, that it's a ship carrying blue humanoid people, of beings. And, as well as the other information, that they were carrying light frequency, high frequencies of information, light codes that they're going to deliver and carry with them to deliver onto Earth. And it just, it just sends like this echo of information, kind of like reconfirming what I was getting through, and also seeing other people receive and get this message as well, similar messages to myself. And what's fascinating really is, how light codes and activations are very much linked to prisms, this imagery, this information that I was given, the idea of this blue triangle, this prism carrying, this high frequency information that is arriving and coming to Earth. And, when we think about prisms, how it transforms light, white light, into frequencies or different, spectrums of colours. And this, again, just reconfirms the information that I got before about how this light-coded informations are really coming to Earth to activate and to, kind of like kickstart, jumpstart our crystalline chakra energy network system, and all those colors in our energy, just as the white light travels through the prism and you get these frequencies of light, all represent different elements of our human experience on Earth, different parts of our beings and our human experiences that we've come here to live and be. And while this is all happening, the three-eye atlas will be behind the sun, perfectly lined, in perfect distance from the Earth, cloaked by the sun, watching us, how we respond, how we download, how we take all this information in. And as I say those words, and even when I got this information, the rush of feeling and the emotions that I felt, again, was just undescribable. But it showed me how impactful this will be, how powerful it will be. And you know what? And why not behind the sun? The sun is our life force. It activates our DNA. So it's a perfect thing to be behind, to deliver this wave, this shockwave of information, to help prepare us for what's to come vibrationally. And for those of us who will feel it more intensely or are more sensitive, more empathic to all this kind of stuff that's happening on, allow yourself the space to integrate all this new information, this influx of energies that are coming through as well. And this means giving yourself the space and the time to release and reflect, allowing space to normalize, different perspectives that are coming through, different wisdoms, different insights, different knowledge that is coming through you. It's allowing it all to just sit and just settle in your body and your daily life, and to really anchor in this energetical upgrade into your life. And if you're thinking, well, okay, but still, how can it be seen as both of these things? then let me tell you that there are so many different layers to our consciousness, different dimensional planes of existence. And in that gap, in between those things, sometimes there's an overlap, there's distortion. And so that is why some people can see it as an interstellar object and some people can see it as a ship or even as a rock, just as a flying comet, just like all the other comets that are currently coming near and are in our solar system right now, along with 3I Atlas. And, just to give an example, 2 days ago, I came across this, this video of a remote viewer who, they were given the coordinates of this thing and they saw it as both, parallel across different dimensions, across space and time, as both as a rock and as an interstellar object. And I don't know if you believe in remote viewing or not, or you've experienced anything like that yourself. Do let me know in the comments. But, when you're a channeler, it's across different dimensions. It's almost, seeing everything in the quantum from this high vibrational dimensional place in the quantum. And that's how it is. And I think, you have to trust and believe in your own abilities if that is how you are seeing it and that's how you're witnessing it. And again, to help better explain this, when you have a glass of water and you immerse a pencil in it, and depending on your perspective and the angle that you're looking at it, the pencil could seem like this, like it's almost bending, like broken. But from another perspective, it can be seen just as whole. And that's how people are perceiving this idea of 3I Atlas. Some people are seeing it for what it is. I'm not saying it is a spaceship, but that's what I feel and sense. You don't have to believe and follow what I'm saying, but this is what I'm getting and this is what I'm picking up on. And seeing it for what it is, like a spaceship, or seeing it as an interstellar object, or just purely as a comet, even though there's very much evidence, showing and proving that it's not acting like a normal comet whatsoever, and that it is an interstellar object. And all of this, it suggests a multidimensional reality, part of the same fabric of reality, just dependent on your perspective and where you are looking at it from. And these light code, high conscious frequencies that are coming in, from the sun, from source, from your higher self, through 3I Atlas, are here activating something deep within, a deep remembrance of your entire being. A deeper remembrance of who you are within your DNA and your energy field of your entire multidimensional being of love and light. So I'm going to leave that there. Let me know how you found this video or any thoughts that you want to share. Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from you, and I will see you soon. Take care. Much love. Namaste.